Good evening, comrades. You're watching ASK News. Tonight, our top story, we go to Budapest live and see firsthand how the uprising in Hungary has affected our nation.
I'm Comrade Sandra.
And I'm Comrade Katie, and you're watching ASK News. Coming to us live in Budapest is Comrade Leo Demidov. Leo is on scene in Budapest where for the past few weeks, uprisings have been present throughout the nation of Hungary.
The uprising starts back in October, when the university students began protesting against the government. As an example, they desecrated our nation's flag by removing the hammer and sickle.
After days of protesting, the students moved to the Budapest Radio Broadcast Building. There they demanded the right to broadcast their speeches and our leader Khrushchev's comments against the Stalinist era.
The students, after being denied entry to the broadcast building, became violent. The AVH officer had opened fire on the crowd in an attempt to break the increasingly violent protester.
On October 23rd, the protests had turned into uprisings. Now we go live on the scene with our comrade Leo Demidov. Tell us what's going on, Leo.
Well, Katie, I'm here in Budapest where uprisings have not just taken over the city, but the entire nation.
Leo, we understand the order is finally being restored to the country. Can you confirm?
Yes, I can. After weeks of unrest and celebrations over the new regime that was to be installed into Hungary, our Soviet brothers have moved into the city and took back control. There are still protests and in some cases insurgents, but for the most part, our Soviet forces have a strong grip on the city.
Can you tell us what it was like in the city during the start of the uprising?
Well, on October 23rd, rioters tried taking control of Radio Broadcast Building. After the AVH denied access, they became violent, and the AVH had to open fire. This did not end well for the AVH.
What happened next?
The rioters then took control forcefully of the broadcast building, and there were no AVH survivors.
Oh my!
I'm on the edge.
The following morning, the rioters had torn down the gold statue of Stalin. They spat on it and removed the head as a little girl rode on top of the head while it was being dragged across the city by a truck.
But what about the military?
Later that day, Hungarian tanks entered the city in an effort to put down the uprising. They fell under heavy gunfire, and after less than 2 days, they were forced out.
The uprising defeated the Hungarian military?
Yes. The next morning, the government leaders relinquished power to the people. In the week of anarchy that followed, the rioters had put to rest all that they found unjust before the uprisings.
What was unjust?
The AVH. After almost a week for hunting the remains of the AVH officers, the rioters had found and captured what was left of the officers. Those that were not immediately executed on the spot received worse.
What could be worse?
They either used the officers as hostages, or they hung them above burning fires.
Oh my.
What happened in the rest of the nation?
They had tried setting up their own government. They had succeeded, but for less than 2 weeks.
What happened after those 2 weeks?
Our Soviet brothers in our armed forces had moved into Hungary. Unlike the Hungarian military, our Russian brothers were not easily defeated. After 1 day of entering the city, the rioters were, for the most part, put down. Those who stayed are still doing what they can in the city, but those who left, in the thousands, have fled to the west.
What is the city like today?
The city is split. Half of the streets are your normal everyday life, but you can walk to the very next street and it can turn into a small war zone.
What are the remnants of the uprising doing?
The rioting itself, for the most part, has stopped, but protesting is still present throughout the city. There are still some mobs in the city, but they tend to be shut down quickly by the newly appointed AVH officers.
How exactly do they put the mobs to...
Hold on. I think we may be seeing a mob start to form. Yes, this is a mob. They seem to be students of the university. 3, 2. Sir, do you think we could get a...
Get out of here! You're next!
Are we still with him?
Well, it seems as if we lost contact with our on-the-scene reporter. I'm Comrade Sandra.
And I'm Comrade Katie, and
And you're
you're watching
watching
ASK News.